I got in crypto actually when I was very, very young,
Okay.
way before I started Sellix.
Mhm.
So basically, I started using it. Well, basically, I started programming when I was around, let's say, 13 years old, maybe around that time.
Okay.
And the only way for me at the time to like get at least paid or basically get something out of it was to
Mhm.
get paid by other people rather than in euro or in dollar, whatever, through
Mhm.
cryptocurrencies. So
Okay.
that's the first time I started accepting cryptos as a payment method. And I basically was fully in Bitcoin. I was a bit of a Bitcoin maximalist 3 years
Mhm.
ago.
Mhm.
And and then after that, I just saw the potential, what I believe is the potential of cryptocurrencies, and
Mhm.
which is also why we decided to start with my other partner and co-founder, Sellix, which basically offers a way for any kind of business to basically accept cryptocurrencies in a nice and easy way with anything ranging from, standard API integrations, like now payments, to offering a complete storefront experience, checkout, and anything that might be required by both businesses and just simple merchants that are starting to sell their products online, and like subscriptions for their communities, memberships, files, services, etc. So
Mhm.
yeah, the my journey started when basically, as I said, around 5-6 years ago,
Mhm.
when the Bitcoin price was like, I guess, 2,500 maybe.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
things changed quite a bit now.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And it is. It's awesome to see like how people get into the space. Of course, you uh, were really in this like before. People were obviously into crypto, right? You studied cryptography, so you come from that background, and then it's awesome to see how you integrated it with this ecosystem of Celix, right? And so, what are some of like the main differences or some of the benefits on of your platform? And what are also some of the main things that people are using the Celix platform for?
Yeah, it's a very nice question because it's something that we're very, very proud of.
Mhm.
Basically, we see that our competitors rely on third-party platforms to process cryptocurrencies. So, for
Mhm.
example, they use Binance, they use Kraken, they use Coinbase, etc., or mainly Coinbase Commerce, for example. And
Mhm.
we do not. So we do not rely on any of those third-party platforms, but we have our own cryptocurrency managing infrastructure, meaning that currently we accept over if I recall correctly, 14 cryptos plus their various blockchains. And we do so by having one cryptocurrency node for every cryptocurrency that we offer. Actually
Interesting.
two. So for example, let's say that we accept Bitcoin, of course. We
Mhm.
have two Bitcoin nodes, two for simple resiliency, because if one goes down, we have the other one.
Right.
The basic infrastructure stuff.
Mhm.
And but at the same time, we basically manage every single cryptocurrency that we offer, meaning
Mhm.
that if a merchant basically receives from his customer one Bitcoin, one Ethereum, three Litecoin, and four USDC, we
Mhm.
send back to the merchant that same amount in crypto. We do
Mhm.
not store them in our wallet. We do not basically we are not an exchange. What we do
Mhm.
is that we take the amounts in generated addresses that we generate for those invoices for the merchant, and then send the payout to the merchant within 24 hours. And we do that with an infrastructure and basically system that is entirely managed by us, and
Mhm.
which does not rely on third parties. And for example, for the Ethereum, Tron, and the BEP20 chain, which includes USDT, USDC, Binance Coin, etc., we have our own decentralized smart contracts to handle payouts, meaning
Mhm.
that we pool transactions and then we send one single transaction for payouts to basically reduce the transaction fees for the hundreds of merchants in basically like less than 50 cents each time.
Wow. 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 Yeah. So that right. That's very different than what you see. Of course, maybe Coinbase Commerce might have something similar, but right, being able to have your own nodes is very important. Of course,
Yeah,
with the
absolutely. We are a really big advocate of having your like if you really want to use a cryptocurrency and if you really believe in a crypto, I do think that you should have your own cryptocurrency node to host that crypto, to host your part of the blockchain. Because
Mhm.
once you have one, you basically have the whole ecosystem and the whole community with more validators, with more nodes, where the
Right.
cryptocurrency with more peers, etc. So yeah,
Exactly.
I do believe that everyone should have its own cryptos. We do have some disadvantages, which, for example, we are not an exchange. So if you receive Bitcoin, you can only get paid through Bitcoin. For example, we do not do an exchange. We might be able to swap coins. So you receive Ethereum, you get paid through USDT on the Ethereum network. But if you receive Bitcoin, you cannot swap it to, for example, Litecoin or USDC, because we basically manage the private keys of the addresses, and we use them only to pay you out, not to do weird stuff with the balances, with the users' balances. Like, we do not want to end up into the next FTX, so that's also why.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, pick a lane and like do what you do very well. You know, a lot of the companies like we've seen in crypto, unfortunately this year, right, they've had a lot of struggles, but it's because they're trying to do everything, right? They're trying to do like NFTs and be an exchange and be a bank and give all this yield. So it's right. It's like pick a lane, and especially since this space is growing so big, or so pretty quickly, especially the last couple of years, people like the crypto market has finally been on display with the whole bull and bear after the halving. So right now we're getting the regulation, and we're going to start seeing bigger companies who's come into this space, and probably some mergers, Coinbase, who knows, working with somebody, smaller companies getting bought out. So it's pick a lane, do it really well, and I think those are like the most successful crypto companies, because obviously we're all still in the startup stage. It really just started about like 13 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's
so
also true, like,
please, go ahead.
for example, what you just said is exactly the reason why, for example, we do not have our own coin. Like, FTX had FTT, but it had zero value. Like, you could do basically nothing with it. And we get asked many times, why do you not release a Sellix token or whatever? The real reason is that it would have zero utility. Like, other than maybe getting discounts on fees, it would be a Ponzi scheme, basically. Like, there would be no utility to it whatsoever.
For sure. Yeah, we've really seen problems with the exchanges and the platforms that have their own coin, unless it's like just a straight up stable coin, right? That just an on and off. But yeah, it gets a little bit too
and
much.
Even stable coins we've seen when that hands up with USD.
So, yeah, exactly. Right. The algorithmic trying to do something completely different. Yeah, right. Like we were saying, it's like focus on what you do and do that really well. So yes, going with that, how has this year, this bear market, all this crazy news, has that affected Sellix in any like major way? Or maybe sometimes this is actually a time people get more interested in actually get into crypto?
So there are two ways to look at it. The first one is that we were waiting for this opportunity. And not only us, a few crypto communities that we have on Sellix were waiting for this, because with a crypto winter just like that, with hundreds of companies being collapsing, basically, you really see what are the ones that should survive and what are the ones that basically shouldn't have even existed in the first place. And it's it's also a really good thing that it happened to us rather than like in 10 years. Because imagine what damage could have done FTX if it collapsed in 10 years from now rather than today.
True.
So that's one way to look at it. And at the same time, we have seen a decrease, of course, in cryptocurrency transactions. But at the same time, there remain the vast majority of transactions that are processed on our platform. There are over 55 to 60%, whilst credit cards and PayPal cover the other 40%.
Okay.
And however, we have also seen a lot of new merchants wanting to find out what the crypto system is, how they can integrate them to their platform, to their websites. And basically, we have started our company basically a year ago, and we've literally gone through the peak of Bitcoin and the whole crypto winter. So we've been through the whole crypto winter, and honestly, it hasn't damaged us a lot because we do not leverage the funds of our users. We do not earn based on the fluctuation of cryptos. We earn based on fees, and we have a really, really solid, basically, business plan. So the only thing that it did for us is actually to get more people interested in crypto and prepare for the next bull run, which may be in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. But like exactly now is the best time to start developing and to start implementing cryptocurrency solutions on your website, basically, because it's maybe not the whole future, but it will be a big important part of the economy in the next maybe 10, 15 years.
Definitely, definitely, right. It's getting to that point, and I think people are finally starting to see that, especially even to the point of FTX. Just the fact that it could get that big and that so many people were using it is proof that, right, crypto is here. That's something to stay, right. All the people he was working with, even the people in government. So
Yeah, just the investors like BlackRock, for example.
right, exactly. So it's something that is clearly here, right? BlackRock, like you're saying, they're one of the biggest investors with Circle and USDC. So yeah, this is certainly something that can be implemented in the, of course, on the blockchain. So in ledger systems and whatnot, it expedites payments and whatnot, but it can be used with logistical companies as well. So yeah, it's certainly something that it's you always want to get interested in something in the down market because that's where the most opportunity is. And of course, you got to find the great projects, but like we're seeing, like the tide is finally gone out, so we're seeing what the real companies are. So yeah, but speaking about that, I've seen that you guys worked with or have a partnership with Concordium. Please tell us a little bit about that because we actually spoke with Lars and Lone a few months ago. So yeah, please let us know how that's developing.
So we were talking before about regulations. Regulations will play a major role in cryptocurrencies. And our partnership with Concordium aims to, in part, basically solve that. Because Concordium, as you know, offer a really, really good and innovative blockchain where basically you do need to be KYC before using Concordium, but your KYC is decentralized, meaning that not anyone can access your information. Basically, nobody can access your information unless specifically required by law. And at the same point, your information is not stored on a single point of failure, but it's decentralized over multiple KYC, basically KYC provider, let's say.
Right.
And at the same time, Concordium also offers a really, really great way to control spam and bots on social medias, for example, but even on our platform as well, which is something that we will be working together with them in the near future to implement. So we really see Concordium as one of the best cryptos to be used once those regulations take place, because they will sooner or later. And it's really a crypto that is future-proof in that case, let's say.
Right. Yeah. Certainly their blockchain being based on science and really being fully decentralized. It's one that we really haven't seen before, and all the various things that it can do. And again, that's an example of a project that's growing nice and steady instead of trying to take on a million different things. Right. So yeah, companies even like Walmart, they were testing out their own blockchain, but for them, of course, that would help with a lot of logistical things. In our meeting, we were talking about how even blockchain can be implemented in the food industry, and verifying that certain things are, of course, are authentic as they say they are or claim to be. So yeah, certainly we're in the beginning here. I think Sellix is it's very unique because you guys are helping to make that bridge. And then also, yeah, the platform is great. Can you tell us a little bit more about what some of the people are selling on Sellix? What are some of the bigger communities on there?
So we are actually going to release a few customer stories in the next weeks or so on our website, because we're doing a bit of rebranding, new designs, etc. But very briefly, the vast majority of sellers use us through storefronts, meaning that they host their website on Sellix, and then they use, because we recently released a feature similar to Shopify, a theme editor, where you can basically choose your theme and then edit it in whatever way you want, or basically just code your website from scratch and host it on our payment solution. And through that, they either sell the merchandising from their YouTube channels, they sell memberships and subscriptions for example, their Discord server, Telegram server, or just their website. Let's say that they have a website that has a monthly subscription called Pro Plan, just like ours. You can either sell that and accept payments through Sellix. So let's say that with cryptos, we send the customer a monthly invoice, which he can pay with any crypto he wants. Or we also have a way that basically merchants sell activation keys. So let's say that an activation key lasts a 30-day subscription period. They can sell that and then activate it on the customer's website. So that's one way. They also sell activation keys for their own software. So let's say that I'm making a software for trading. I can sell my activation keys for a limited period of time access to that software that I am selling. They can also sell the software itself because we allow for files to be sold. They also have sell access to various video courses, for example, either through file or activation keys. And also a really, really big part of merchants sell services, design services, web development services, anything that can be sold and processed online, similar to Upwork, for example. Another big portion of our merchants have Sellix integrated through our embed functionality, which means that they have an HTML button on their website, which once gets clicked, it basically opens a pop-up payment model through Sellix in which they can just basically input their payment details, cryptocurrencies, credit cards, whatever, and then we handle everything else. And lastly, we have two sections, one with plugins. So you have your own WordPress site. You just connect your WordPress plugin, WooCommerce plugin, and you can accept cryptos that way. We have the same plugins for Magento, PrestaShop, OpenCart, and WHMCS. And finally, simply through our API. You have your own site. You want a white label integration. You create an order through our API, display the info to the customer, and we handle all the crypto, generating addresses, checking for payments, and letting you know once the payment is completed. In terms of the actual products being sold, they are vastly gaming communities, but we also have people using our payment processing to just sell NFTs, and then they handle the NFT sending and receiving. Or, for example, basically anything that you can have a website for, even just standard e-commerce websites. As a platform, we do not handle physical products, but of course you can sell physical products on WordPress, WooCommerce, and then we use us just as a payment processor.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like really like an all-in-one e-commerce ecosystem, right? And then especially with the crypto implementation, I mean, yeah, that's awesome, and I'm really excited to see you all your partnership with Concordium, because that can really help a lot on so many different layers. So yeah, thank you again for your time today. Can you let us know right before I let you go, maybe I know you said you have some customer stories coming out soon, but anything else that maybe we could look forward to and then maybe next year, a few years out with Sellix?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a roadmap. Of course, we have a public roadmap at roadmap.sellix.io, but that's mainly like features we're working on. Let's say 2 to 3 big things that we are planning are to release for every merchant a way to get paid with credit cards for their customers, but then get paid in payouts with cryptos. So your customer pays with credit cards and they get paid out with cryptos. That's one thing we're working on. We also want to start once we have enough cash flow, because currently we are processing around 2.5 million monthly. We want to use that cash flow to launch our own decentralized exchange, because there are not many decentralized exchanges that currently work the way that we would like, and we want to do it that not only for us but also for our merchants.
Right.
So those are the 2 biggest features. And as a third, let's say that we would like to start expanding internationally, because we know of a lot of users who would like to implement us in Asia or South America, for example, but we have limited payment methods specifically for those regions. So that's something that we want to improve in the near future.
Right, yeah, and it sounds like you guys are setting yourselves up really well for, as we all know, the regulations coming, especially this year. Yeah, and so you'll be able to make those international moves relatively quickly and swiftly. Yeah. So again,
we hope so, at least.
Yeah. No, you guys look good. I've talked to a few people in different types of crypto companies. Obviously, we've seen too many go down, but yeah, you guys really have a solid plan. And I've seen some reviews say that Sellix is a really awesome platform that they're using. And of course, the crypto implementation, as we've been talking about, is another level. So thank you again for your time today. And
thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Looking forward to seeing you all grow.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.